getting the Tundra ready to drive it for about an hour and then check my coolant. Let me give you a little recap. Yesterday I was changing my headlight bulbs and decided to check the coolant on this because I'm heading across the country and there was no coolant in the radiator. How about that? So I filled it up with coolant, which by the way, I didn't know there were different colors and different types. So I got the Toyota coolant at AutoZone. But here's what I'm hoping is my issue. I don't even see that right here. But this is my radiator cap. And it's not supposed to be like this, all right? It's not supposed to have that rubber coming up. That's supposed to, so I'm hoping that because it wasn't able to keep the pressure, that it's blown out the top. But like I said, that's the reason I'm about to go drive her for about an hour and then check the coolant, and then drive for a couple more hours and check the coolant. Just make sure that we've got that solved. Another thing I've got on my list for this Tundra is this right here. That is the radio antenna. And on these trucks, they go right here. So they break off. How about that? And then I'm also working on, so those are two things on the list. But the next thing I've got going on is this. I'm removing the back seats. I'm removing the back seats from the Tundra to give me more space back here for when I bring stuff back. I had to go get a 3/8 socket extension because I didn't have one in my car toolkit, but I've got plenty of these in Florida. So that's this plan is to unite as much of the me and my stuff, and get rid of some of my stuff. I get rid of a lot of my stuff. So that's it. So I'm working on that, and then like I said, I'm gonna go for a ride. So let me get going and I'll talk to you later. All right, so let's see how the coolant is right now, just from sitting. Yeah, we're getting full. And you see this is the new cap. A lot more to it. A lot more to it. I did this, I filled up the reservoir last night, so I'm going to top it off and then go for a ride. Hey everyone, here you go. Just working on yesterday, the day before is when I found I had the radiator issue. The radiator cap was basically toast. It fell apart in my hands. So I got another radiator cap, filled it up. Yesterday I ended up driving about 100 miles total. So I just checked and I just undid the cap right here and it was full. And then this tank right here is my reservoir, and it's down a little bit, but like I said, this is completely full, so my radiator is completely full, so I believe I've got that taken care of. But I took it somewhere yesterday, have them look at what I had and everything like that, and was told I've got a cracked CV boot, which you really can't see it, but how these cars work, you got transmissions, and then out of the transmissions come axles, and they're called CV, or constant velocity axles. and they have a rubber or plastic boot on each end. And on that one, it's leaking underneath it. I saw some moisture on the crossbeam underneath it. So typically what they do when they fail is you'll hear them clicking when you turn, because I had that happen before in a Honda Accord I had years ago. But it's not clicking. But I don't know if I want to go across the country, put 2,000 or actually 4,000 or 5,000 miles total on that. Well, it's Sunday, so no one's working on it. So I was planning on leaving today. That's not going to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Big Bear today. Where I live, I'm about probably 30 minutes from the beach, and probably about 10 miles, 10 miles, and then 100 miles from the ski area called Big Bear, the closest one. So I'm gonna go check it out. So come with me and let's go check out Big Bear. Hey everybody, it's Rigo. I am about 5 or 10 miles from Big Bear Lake, and this is what I'm seeing. It's beautiful. I'll have it in the background. How about that? I left LA about an hour and a half ago. We are now about 7,500 feet elevation. Just so I've gone, gosh, probably about 30 miles, 40 miles. That's where we really started coming up in the mountains. And that's really the difference between the East Coast and West Coast, between the Rockies. Or these aren't even the Rockies. I'm sure what mountains they are, but like I said, I'm at 70, probably 72, 73, 74,000 feet right now. About 5-6 miles ahead of me is Big Bear ski area, and behind me is this. It's pretty cool. This is what this video is going to do. I'm going to take you and show you as much of California as I can before I run out of gas. But let's have fun. It's chilly. I should put on my jacket. But I'm speechless. Let me hop back in. I want to get in, start heading back down before it gets dark. It's about 3:30. So once again, this is the view. All right, and here's the new ride. She's doing pretty good with a weak CV axle. I'll fill y'all in on that later. All right, everyone, it's Rigo. It's cold, it's chilly. What I'm going to do is show you Big Bear Lake. Man, this is so gorgeous up here. It's cold. All right, so this is what's in front of me. It's a pretty big lake up here. It's a small town. They got some ski areas. It's not very busy, but it's Sunday. But this is the closest area from Los Angeles, I believe. The interesting about these areas here is there's not a lot of public access to the water. I ran into that when I went to Lake Tahoe years ago. I was riding my motorcycle, and there's a lot of private land on the lake's edge, so that's kind of it here. I drove past a couple ski areas. I didn't get to the main Big Bear ski area. I am cold. I'm a little hungry, and I want to make my way off this. Good morning, everybody. It's Rigo here. Thought I'd give you an update on what's going on with the Tundra on my trip to Florida. I think I left you with, here we go. I think I left you with me having to, last weekend I went to Big Bear, and great trip. First 70 miles was highway, last 30 was straight up. And on the highway, I bounced all over the place, man. It was a rough ride. I'd been told a couple days before that my shocks were toast, and this trip confirmed it, because there's no way I could have driven here to Florida with that. So I talked previously, and I am at Overland Garage 4x4 in Laguna Hills. I've been working with Alex, and they're going to put some Bilsteins on the Tundra. After looking at it and talking about it, doing some reading and doing some watching on YouTube, I'm going with the Bilstein 6112s on the front and Bilstein 5160s on the back. Reason for the 5160s on the back is, like I said, I'm going to be doing some more long hauling on it, and just feel that that will give me a smoother, consistent ride for the duration of the trip. So here am I at Overland Garage 4x4. You can see their Jeeps in the back. The ride down was okay, but I'll fill you in on how everything goes. Talk to you later. Bye. Hey everyone, it's Rigo. Just waiting on getting the suspension put in for the shocks. Just to recap what I've done. It's 2011 I've had for about a month, and the ride's been horrible. So first thing I did, I found out I had a leaky CV axle, so I got that removed. I found out the shocks have been pretty toasted, so that's what I'm doing right now, getting shocks on. Next thing is tires. Been looking at tires, and I mean, the ones I have, I think the date on them was 2020, so 6 years old. New tires for my truck are $400 each. So, and I've got a 4,000, 5,000 mile trip ahead of me, Florida. So what I'm doing, what I'm strongly leaning at, I've been looking at a used set of KO2s, BF Goodrich KF2s. Their date range is 2020, 2022, so right at 3.5 years old. They are stored inside. There's no rot, so price is right at $450, so for all four. So for the price of one tire, I'm getting all four. I'm gonna give that a shot. And you see, worst case, I had the same ride I'd have, and I'm out for $500. Best case is I've got a tire for 2-3 years while I get everything else up and running. So there we are. Beautiful day here in Laguna Beach, Laguna Hills. All types of cool stuff sitting around. So it's been a pretty cool day. I'll fill you guys in once I get them in. Hey everyone, it's Rigo. Something's pretty interesting happening. There's something pretty interesting happened. I'm taking the bolts out of the back seats using this ratchet and extension, but it's pretty tedious. So I was griping in my mind about how I wish I had my cordless drill, which is in Florida. I do have the corded drill right there. And then I said, but if I did it, I would need the bit for the socket. And then when I was pulling up the seat, right there behind this rail was a socket. So this is my cordless drill setup right now. I've got this Makita drill I bought off eBay, and I've got these battery chargers called jackeries. So I'm gonna plug it in and have a cordless setup and take it out, be a lot quicker. So I don't know, I do know that you find what you're looking for and you see what you're looking for. So anyway, pretty cool. All right, everybody, here we go. One of the things I'm working on is trying to shorten the distance between frustration and solving problems. For example, taking out the back seats out of this Tundra. So got one of the seats out, but this right here is the air suspension for this thing. And guess what? This hose goes right through here, and right through there. So I've got to figure out how to get the hose out so I can do that. But again, this is an example of something that has plagued me my whole life. Is an incident like this happens, I get frustrated, and then previously I used to spend a lot of time frustrated, griping, but I looked around the people around me, and specifically a good friend Josh, and was around him actually yesterday, and things happen, but his distance from frustration to action is very short. And so that's what I'm working on, is because we're all going to get frustrated. First of all, nothing's going to go as you plan, nothing. But we're all going to get frustrated. But the thing is, limit that time and move to action so you actually get the problem solved. And that's what I'm working on right here. What I'm going to do is unscrew it right there, and hopefully that'll work. So anyway, bye. Well, I got the seat out. Here we go. Get a space. That is the pump for the air shock system. The seat was heavier. It's heavier than I thought. So that one seat, that half seat, was heavier than I thought. So rethinking about the other one and how I'm gonna get it out from the truck to my apartment. So in the meantime, I'm gonna go drive for an hour and see how the coolant's doing. Hey everyone, here we go. Something's pretty interesting happening. There's something pretty interesting happened. I'm taking the bolts out of the back seats using this ratchet and extension, but it's pretty tedious. So I was griping in my mind about how I wish I had my cordless drill, which is in Florida. I do have the corded drill right there. And then I said, but if I did it, I would need the bit for the socket. And then when I was pulling up the seat, right there behind this rail was a socket. So this is my cordless drill setup right now. I've got this Makita drill I bought off eBay, and I've got these battery chargers called jackeries. So I'm gonna plug it in and have a cordless setup and take it out, be a lot quicker. So I don't know, I do know that you find what you're looking for and you see what you're looking for. So anyway, pretty cool. All right, so let me just show you what the inside of the Tundra is looking like now. So I have removed the back seats. So this is what it looks like now. I got to figure out a way to organize it all, so it's just not one big pile of stuff. But for now, that's what we've got. So I got my 2 coats. That's the air compressor for the air suspension. I think it works. We're gonna find out today. And this right here is a portable battery by a company called Jackery. I got it. It works pretty well. So that's what the back looks like. In the front, again, trying to figure out how to organize it all. This right here is just a huge area. I've been online and saw some organization things for it. Don't know if I'm going to use that or make my own. This is a Garmin GPS I've had forever. Just got through opening up updating the firmware. I've got the phone, but what I've learned, I learned this on my motorcycle trips. Believe it or not, there are some parts in the US that don't have cell coverage. All right, and that's what the paper maps are for, and the Garmin's for. I don't think I'll run into that today, but I'm just testing everything out. Because like I said, I've not used this Garmin in a long, long time. So we're going to see how it works. So talk to you in a bit. Bye.